The Amazon may be the most famous rainforest on Earth, but one of its biggest empires is still almost invisible. Not jaguars, not anacondas, insects. Scientists can find them, trap them, photograph them, and even sequence parts of their DNA, but they still cannot answer the simplest question: how many are there? You may have seen the Amazon presented as a place of giant insects, venomous animals, and creatures that look if they slipped out of another age, but the strangest mystery is quieter than that. It is not whether the rainforest contains spectacular insects. It is why, after generations of collecting and studying them, scientists still cannot give a complete count of the insect world beneath the leaves. Insects are not rare here. They are in the soil, in the flowers, inside dead wood, above the canopy, along river edges, in the black air around a light at night. They are visible almost everywhere, but visibility is not the same as measurability. A beetle in a tray is not automatically a known species. A moth on a leaf is not automatically part of a completed inventory. A tiny body can be found, preserved, and still remain scientifically unresolved. Picture a map of the Amazon, covered in tiny moving points. Some points are specimens in museum drawers. Some are photographs. Some are DNA records. Some are insects that may be known already. Some may belong to species no one has formally described. The map looks full, but the forest behind it is larger, deeper, and harder to read. What is known is that the Amazon is a vast tropical forest system with extraordinary biological richness. One theory suggests its insect diversity is shaped by habitat variety, climate, plant relationships, and isolation over time. The speculation, kept separate from fact, is that the unknown portion may be far larger than casual viewers expect, so the mystery becomes sharper. If scientists can count stars, track satellites, and train artificial intelligence on oceans of data, why does a beetle in a rainforest still break the system? The first trap does not solve the mystery, it creates a stranger one. Every method catches a different Amazon. This is why the question matters now. People are used to hearing that forests can be mapped from space, that computers can sort vast amounts of information, that artificial intelligence can find patterns no human eye would notice. We live in an age that often makes measurement feel inevitable. If enough sensors, images, and data centers are pointed at a problem, the answer is supposed to appear. But the Amazon's insects resist that kind of confidence. Their mystery is not only hidden in darkness or distance, it is hidden in scale, variety, and the basic difficulty of deciding what has actually been counted. This is a different story from the familiar Amazon spectacle. It is not a ranking of the most dangerous animals in the rainforest. It is not only a parade of giant beetles, strange mantises, or insects that look ancient enough to be called dinosaur-like. Those creatures are fascinating, and they make the forest feel dramatic. But the harder scientific problem often belongs to the ordinary ones, the tiny flies, beetles, wasps, moths, ants, larvae that pass unnoticed through leaves, bark, flowers, mud, and night air. The fact is that scientists do have many tools. They collect insects in the field, they examine museum specimens, they use traps, observations, microscopes, photographs, and lab work. In some cases, they compare bodies. In others, they compare genetic clues. None of this means the work is primitive. It means the problem is bigger than any one method. One theory behind the counting difficulty is simple to state and hard to solve. No single method can capture the whole insect community, because there may not be one single community to capture. The insects living high in the canopy are not the same as the insects moving through leaf litter. The insects near water edges may differ from those in rotting wood. Flowers, fruit, fungi, soil, tree trunks, and the undersides of leaves can each hold their own small worlds. Some insects appear only at night. Some appear after rain. Some are active for a short part of the year. Some are visible only at one stage of life. And the Amazon itself is not one uniform jungle. It is a shifting mosaic of habitats, seasons, floods, elevations, and microclimates. A survey in one place can be careful and still represent only that place, under those conditions at that moment. So the first obstacle is not a lack of insects, it is the opposite. Every successful search opens another door. Every drawer, trap, and specimen label asks the next question: which Amazon did we just count and which one did we miss? To understand why, stop imagining the rainforest as a single green wall. The Amazon is vertical. It begins in the leaf litter, where fragments of dead plants become shelter, food, and camouflage. It rises through roots, fallen branches, rotting wood, trunks, vines, flowers, and the dim understory. Above that is the canopy, a living ceiling of leaves and branches where insects may spend entire lives far from the ground. Then the forest changes again along riverbanks, in flooded areas, around temporary pools, and in the small damp spaces. Exist under bark or inside a curled leaf. Each door opens onto a different insect world. The fact is that many insects are difficult to notice even when they are close by. Some are active mainly at night. Some appear strongly in one season and then almost vanish from easy observation. Some are tiny enough to be overlooked without careful sorting. Some are shaped and colored like bark, moss, dead leaves, or thorns. Others may be short-lived as adults, meaning the moment when they can be collected or identified may pass quickly, and some are tied so closely to particular plants, fungi, soils, or wet places that a survey a few steps away may miss them. The theory, in simple terms, is that these habits create repeated blind spots, not one giant blind spot, but thousands of small ones. A trap set near the ground may tell a truth about ground-level insects while saying almost nothing about life high in the canopy. A daytime search may miss species that move after dark. A survey during a dry period may miss insects that respond to flooding or heavy rain. A net swept across flowers may reveal visitors to those flowers, while leaving the insects inside dead wood almost untouched. This is why a field team can collect an overwhelming number of specimens and still only touch a narrow slice of reality. The collection may be real, the effort may be skilled, the insects may be carefully preserved, but the sample is still shaped by place, hour, weather, season, height, method, and behavior. It is not a complete portrait of the forest. It is more like a narrow beam from a flashlight moving through a cathedral-sized darkness. At night, a light trap glows against the black forest, pulling in wings from the surrounding air. Somewhere else, researchers may sample the canopy, reaching into a layer most people never see. In the leaf litter, the mystery becomes smaller and stranger, hidden among soil, fragments, and decay. Later, specimens may end up in museum drawers, placed beside labels, compared under magnification, and held as evidence. A living thing was found in one particular window of the Amazon. Then comes the map. A few sampled dots appear. Around them is not emptiness exactly, but uncertainty. Unsampled forest, unsampled months, unsampled branches, unsampled nights, and this is the first major payoff in the mystery. The problem is not that Amazon insects are impossible to find. The problem is that finding some of them can reveal how many doors have not been opened yet. But even after the insects are caught, the harder question begins. Are they known species, new species, or lookalikes wearing different disguises? In the field, a trap can fill a vial. A camera can record a wing, a jaw, a pattern of color. A genetic test can return a string of information from a fragment of tissue. But counting Amazon insects is not just a problem of gathering bodies, images, or DNA. It is a problem of deciding what counts as the same kind of life. This is where the rainforest moves from mud, leaves, and night air into the quieter world of drawers, microscopes, labels, and expert judgment. The fact is that taxonomy, the science of naming and classifying organisms, depends on comparison. A specimen is checked against descriptions, museum collections, body structures, location records, and more, genetic evidence. None of these tools is useless. None of them is magic. Together, they help scientists ask whether an insect belongs to a known species, whether it represents a variation within that species, whether it may be something not formally described yet. The theory, in many difficult groups, is that different lines of evidence can reveal hidden diversity. Two insects may look almost identical to the human eye, even under magnification, yet differ in their genes, behavior, mating signals, host plants, or life histories. They may be what researchers often call cryptic species, separate branches wearing nearly the same outer mask. But the reverse can also happen. One species can look like several different species depending on whether the insect is male or female, young or mature, newly emerged or weathered, from one region or another, or living in a slightly different environment. A colorful form, a larger body, or a different wing shape does not automatically mean a separate species, so the count becomes unstable. Add one new specimen and the number might rise. Re-examine an old drawer, and two supposed species might collapse into one. Sequence DNA from a neglected group, and a familiar name may fracture into several unresolved possibilities. This is not simply clerical work. It can be years of careful comparison, especially when the insect group is small, poorly studied, missing enough specialists to keep up with the flow of material. Imagine rows of pinned specimens, each with a tiny label beneath it. Some labels have precise information, others may be incomplete, old, faded, or vague by modern standards. A place name may not tell scientists exactly which habitat was sampled. A date may not reveal the season in any useful detail. A specimen may be damaged. A larva may sit in one collection while the adult form is known somewhere else. Under the microscope, a tiny structure can decide whether two insects belong together or should be separated. On a screen, a DNA sequence can suggest a pattern, but that pattern still has to be interpreted. This is why modern biodiversity work begins to resemble the biggest data problems of the age. The world is building machines to sort enormous flows of information, and biology is also collecting more images, sequences, records, observations than any one person could comfortably hold in mind. Artificial intelligence may help group images, flag similarities, or search through patterns. Databases may help connect specimens across collections. But a machine cannot automatically decide what nature means by a species. It can assist the question. It cannot erase the question. And so the Amazon insect count enters a philosophical trap. Before scientists can say how many there are, they have to decide where one living form ends and another begins. Even that would be difficult enough if the forest stayed still. It does not. The Amazon insect count is not a static inventory waiting patiently on a shelf. It is a living system, changing while scientists are still trying to read it. Imagine trying to count every book in a library where the shelves move at night. Some pages rewrite themselves with the weather. Entire rooms can become easier or harder to enter depending on the season. That is closer to the challenge than simply counting objects in a box. Insects are tied into relationships. A beetle may depend on a certain kind of dead wood. A fly may appear only when a fruiting tree reaches a particular stage. A wasp may follow a host insect that follows a plant that follows the rhythm of rain. This part is fact. Insects interact with plants, fungi, predators, parasites, rainfall, temperature, water levels, and changes in land use. They are not separate decorations placed on top of the rainforest. They are woven through it. When one layer changes, scientists investigate how other layers may respond. A shift in flowering can matter. A change in flooding can matter. A hotter, drier season can matter. A road, a clearing, or a fragmented patch of forest can change what lives nearby, what moves through, and what disappears from view. But this is where the story has to stay honest. It is factual that habitat change can affect biodiversity. It is not honest to claim an exact number of Amazon insect species lost, hidden, or doomed without solid evidence. Some may be widespread and resilient. Some may be rare. Some may be known from only a few collected specimens, not because they are necessarily vanishing, because no one has sampled enough of their world to know. The unknown is not automatically a tragedy, but it is a warning. Every survey is a moment in time. A trap set during one season catches one version of the forest. The same place, months later, may produce a different community. A dry ridge, a flooded margin, a fallen tree, a flowering canopy, a disturbed edge, and an untouched interior can each tell a different story. Collections age. Labels preserve clues, but not always enough. Species ranges may shift. Local communities can appear in one survey and seem absent in another, leaving researchers to ask whether they are rare, seasonal, overlooked, misidentified, or truly changing. This is the deeper answer to the dangerous animals version of the Amazon story. The real danger here is not a monster insect attacking people from the shadows. It is the possibility that entire relationships in the forest remain unnamed before they are understood. A tiny insect might be a pollinator, a parasite, a recycler, prey, predator, or all of these at different stages of life. Count the body, and you still may not have counted its role. So scientists are not failing to solve a simple puzzle. They are trying to measure a moving target with incomplete maps, limited time, and tools that are improving faster than the questions are shrinking. And that leaves the question that matters most. If the total number cannot be known yet, what can scientists actually know? Why does that still matter? They can know patterns. They can know that one trap samples one slice of the forest, not the whole forest. They can compare wings, jaws, legs, colors, songs, host plants, and DNA. They can map where specimens were found, when they were found, and what conditions surrounded them. But each answer comes with a boundary. That is the real reason scientists still cannot count Amazon insects. It is not because no one has tried. It is because the question is not a single locked door. It is a chain of smaller uncertainties, and every link matters. First, there is access. Huge parts of the forest are difficult to reach, difficult to revisit, and difficult to sample in the same way twice. Then there is habitat. The insects in leaf litter are not the insects in the canopy. The insects along a riverbank are not the same as those inside dead wood. Night air, flowers, flooded forest, or soil. Then comes time. Some appear after rain. Some emerge for a short season. Some live briefly, hide well, or pass through life stages that barely resemble each other. Even after collection, the count is still not finished. Tiny bodies must be sorted. Look-alike species must be separated carefully. One species may take many forms across sex, age, or region. Museum drawers can hold clues, but also old labels, incomplete records, and specimens waiting for expert attention. DNA tools, imaging systems, and computational methods can help reveal patterns faster than older methods alone. But help is not the same as a final answer. A machine can compare signals. Someone still has to decide what those signals mean. So the Amazon's unknown insect empire is not unknown because it is empty of human effort. It is unknown because every look reveals more doors. The fact is simple. A complete count remains unresolved. The theory is more hopeful. Better field surveys, stronger taxonomy, clearer imaging, genetic tools, shared collections, and careful data systems can narrow the unknown. The speculation, stated carefully, is that many Amazon insect species may still remain undescribed, hidden not in fantasy, in ordinary places that have not yet been studied closely enough. That is what makes this mystery different from the usual story of dangerous rainforest animals or giant, ancient-looking insects. The real shock is not one creature on a leaf. It is the possibility that the forest is filled with relationships we have not named yet. At the end, the mystery can be held in one small body, a pinned insect beneath a label that says unknown. Around it are drawers, then more drawers, and beyond them, the rainforest continues outside. For the next clue in this pattern, subscribe and keep watching the series because the biggest mysteries in nature are often hiding in the smallest lives.